So we talked about what we do. These are the regions that we cover. The group that the community college president was talking about a few minutes ago, the CEC group, they're the ones that run the program for us. So the state gives us a small, and the key word there is small, sum of money to come back out and manage the program. So they help us with the grants, they help us do the implementations, they help us make sure that we're doing the right thing. Hence the reason the growth and diversification plan we talked to you about earlier is so important. We have target clusters. So we don't want to be an inch deep and a mile wide in the region. So we sat back and did a lot of research using CECE and part of the research that came out of UVA and others. And these are the sectors that we think have the biggest bang for the buck. Now, when you guys come to the meeting with John, you may say, no, John, old man, you're crazy. We need to focus on this. That's acceptable because that's what we want to hear. Are we focusing on the right things? But our job is to create the infrastructure to create jobs that are paying higher than the state average. So these are some of the averages that you see in state for all of Region 2 is $24.85. Our target clusters are at $34.18. So we keep raising it up. We have a big bet on bio and life sciences. I saw a couple folks from Carillion here. Carillion's just been amazing to work with. We've got a new device lab we've just put in down there. You probably saw where we've got the new kidney component in place. We just broke ground on the new cancer center, which is going to be a teaching and research hospital, and they have a good footprint up in this part of the world. So how do you take advantage of this? We've partnered a lot with Radford in terms of their nursing program. We love the community colleges because they do all the workforce development for us and the skills training that we need to bring to the next level. The other piece is what we call IT and emerging technology. This is kind of like a catch-all bucket. AI would be in this bucket, many other things that you may do to support your business in there, but we have a lot of leeway on this one. So these are ones that we usually find a lot of interesting prospects that people come back and want to do co-funding with the community on, which we love. Transportation and autonomy. Anybody ever heard of torque? Yeah, no. So you're going to be driving down Interstate 64 or 81, and you're going to see this big Daimler truck that has torque on the back of it. That's a self-driving truck. They're running up and down 81 right now. Okay. Now you'll see a guy in the driver's seat. He may look like he's asleep. He very well could be. He's called a safety driver. The truck is driving itself though. Okay, and it's been doing that for the past 2 years. So when we think about autonomy, this region is really leading the way in many regards. With what Torque did, Michael Fleming, who sold it to Daimler. We've got the drones in the autonomous park up in Blacksburg. It's only a matter of time before CSX starts doing autonomous trains, but this is going to be the future in transportation. So we spend a lot of time on that, and then we've got materials and machinery manufacturing, which is my favorite piece. I love manufacturers. So how do we optimize supply chains? How do we use robotics? How do we come back and use advanced manufacturing techniques? Now, part of the growth and diversification plan, our ask to you is, are these the right things to focus on? And we have things set up around the state that makes them successful. One of the big programs that we just sponsored for Montgomery County and Roanoke County was something called GoTech. GoTech is an incredible program that Ben Davenport put together down in Danville, but we're taking that supply chain even younger. So this is targeting junior high kids getting ready to go into high school, where we give them an introduction to health sciences or into manufacturing or the skills, and they go right into the CTE programs at high school, and then they usually go on to a community college for a certification or a degree. But we get them introduced early in the cycle, so they want to stay here, they want to learn about the technologies, and they see opportunities that are homegrown. So if you're not familiar with GoTech, go out and just type in GoTech, Go Virginia, and you'll see what some of the amazing things they're doing. In Danville, this program is amazing. The Institute for Advanced Learning in Danville, they started a program that created GoTech in the high schools for the CTE program. But now they're training welders and precision manufacturers and additive manufacturers around the clock, 7x24, 7 days a week. And they're sending them to the shipyards to build the next generation submarines for the Navy. It's the most incredible project you've ever seen in your life. If you get an opportunity and you're in Danville, stop by and look at this and look at the machinery they're doing and the training curriculum. But these folks, even though these kids will go back to Tidewater, it's an opportunity for us to put a major footprint in terms of what we're doing in advanced manufacturing in the region. Because if you just go 60 miles to the north of Danville, Lynchburg, you've got a couple of companies like BWXT, who builds all the nuclear reactors for the Navy. And you got companies like Framatome, who's building most of the consumer nuclear reactors around. And oh, by the way, they're taking advantage of the GoTech too, because they need welders and nuclear technicians and things like this. So we try to tailor the program so there's specific needs of the communities to drive jobs. These are things that we do. We talked a little bit about what we're doing with the growth and diversification plan. We have these innovation scale-up clusters that's addressing the needs of a region. So when you have the CECE folks here, think about things that you would like to see. Think about things that would help all ships rise within this community. We have entrepreneurship and business development. We fund things like the ramp in Roanoke. So if you've got kids or your business, you got a really smart idea, but maybe you don't have the background to build a business plan, or you don't have the right funding. This program is like 12 to 18 weeks. It'll walk you through the entire process. We give them office space, we help fund them, we coach them, we walk them every step of the way through the process because A, we want them to be successful. And I'll give you a good example of how the Go Virginia project happened. When they built the Fralin Biomedical Institute in Roanoke, we all wanted to get into bio. Yay, bio, Ken probably remembers this. We had a doctor in the region called Vic Ianola and said, great, you want to do bio? How are you going to do that? You don't have wet labs. And we looked at each other, thanks, a wet lab. And so Vic was very, very patient with us and took 2 weeks to explain what a wet lab was. But because of that conversation, we went back and funded the wet labs to build in Roanoke and Blacksburg so that startups could use them to build biomedical. And then we had to go back and do wet labs for manufacturing. So it's a very fluid program. We try to look at the needs of the community and scale from there. Talent, attraction, and retention. This is something near and dear to my heart. I want people in the community to stay in the community. And everybody who graduates from this community college, I want them to stay in this area somehow, some way. So one of the things that we put in place is the certifications, is it mentorships, internships, things like this. We spend an inordinate amount of time working on internships because we find that, actually Griff and I were talking about this coming in today, you offer somebody a job when they're a junior in high school and they go out into the workforce and they know they got it after they graduate, you got them. Chances are 80, 90% is going to stay with you, okay? So think about those as you build out these various components. And then collaboration sites and infrastructure. We actually had one of the planning grants that helped build your new park up here. Now, we paid a little bit of this, the community did the rest, but it was good to be able to participate in the product. So when you go back into it, I always tell folks you have to go into it with the innovative mindset. Okay, I don't care if you're a florist or you're going to build the next AI company. You got to be able to test those new ideas. You got to learn from setbacks. One of the things we don't teach people is how to fail. Oh my gosh, I mean, I sit back and think about the startups I've worked for, the ones that have failed I've learned the most from because don't do that again. It's like touching the stove, don't get burned. But being able to share those ideas and not ridicule somebody when they fail is priceless. Whether you're starting a deli on Main Street or you're putting a new thing in place, what can you learn from that? And then the community aspect of it, how do you help these folks? How do if you thought about a line of credit, is your business really seasonable? How do you think about that in terms of being successful? And then, also when you do fail or you find another opportunity, pivot quickly. When Google started, it's the funniest thing, you had Sergey and Larry, it was never designed to be a search engine. What they were building was a research thing called Google Scholar, which is still out there. But they were both brainiac PhDs, and they wanted a quick way to come back out and do research. And so they ran across this thing, and somebody said, wow, you can research that fast? Why don't you put other data in it? And hence, you had the search engine craze. But they were able to pivot very quickly on their ideas and became very, very successful. So when we look at the grants in Go Virginia, we've had 200 students placed in internships. You could see what the outcomes were. Folks went to intern, full-time, continuing education, and other sources. So when we spend taxpayers' dollars, we're maniacal. We have a scorecard out there. It's called a Visine chart, okay? And we have metrics, and it's like, if it's red, get the red out. What is the remediation plan put in place? Because it's not our money, it's the state's money. So we have metrics for everything. How many kids we're placing, how many sites are being built, how many jobs are we creating. So if you look at those before you meet with the CEC folks, you'll get a good idea of things that we're trying to do. Sites and infrastructure, we chatted about this one a little bit. We've done sites from the Highlands to Roanoke County to Blacksburg to Franklin County. This will continue to be a big piece because a lot of times in Virginia, and Ken's probably more of a SME on this one than I, if you don't have a shovel-ready site, you're kind of in a bad way. So a lot of the companies that we have to compete with, there's a lot of incentives thrown their way, but if you have a site that's ready to go and it's got good infrastructure around it, your chances go up exponentially in terms of you're going to win it. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how we build these shovel-ready sites around the state, and then how do we work with VIDC to make sure that we're getting our name out there to bring business to the region. This is the 5 steps of growth that I look at. You know, look at the resources around, invest in technology, partnerships. I love partnerships. Okay? I love being able to come back out and think about, from a bookstore, how can I partner with somebody in Roanoke to build something that can scale better. From an online newspaper, how do I come back and get my next 10,000 viewers? Mentor the next generation, please. You guys are so smart. You've been there, done that. You're successful entrepreneurs. Think about the kids coming out of community college, out of high school that want to start a business. You could be their lifeline. Just being able to sit back and explain to them, it's not easy. You're going to lay in the bed at night and wonder how you're going to make payroll. Explain how you get a line of credit. Here's the pros and the cons. Every time you do that, you're setting the future generation up for success. And then dream boldly. I mean, some of the best ideas come out of the most asinine thoughts. We were at Longwood College, and there was this guy that came up with this idea for a new fishing vest. I'm a big fisherman, so I was looking at this thing, and it was like brilliant. It was so simple. I'm like, why didn't Orvis think of this? And he looked at me and said, Orvis is interested in my company. I said, of course they are. But he was a SME. It was somebody, it was his passion, his love, and he came up with a great idea. These type of things happen every day. And a lot of folks say, they're like, oh, I'm just out in left field. Those are usually the best ideas. So dream boldly, do your research, your due diligence, see where you can go. We talked about the mentoring program. If you've got businesses here in the region that would like to take advantage of RAMP, we would love to hear from you. Go out to the RBTC website, just type in RAMP, you'll see the cohorts that are coming back up. You can see the benefits that we give and things that you can take advantage of. This isn't for just Roanoke, it's for an entire region. So I don't think we've had anyone from the Allegheny Highlands participate in one of our cohorts yet. We would love to have the first one come out of this meeting today. So think about it, look at it. If you know folks that are interested in this type of thing, we would love to hear from them. We've had a lot of successful startups. Tiny Cargo is probably our most successful one to date. The team at Tiny Cargo has come up with a way to take a peptide from milk and introduce drugs to the heart almost instantaneously. And it came out of Roanoke. This will be very, very big once we get it through the FDA Act, the FDIC approval process. We've got others that are working on drugs that started, believe it or not, as arthritis drugs for horses that have now been transferred to dogs, which, the FDA says we can do human trials on now. These are the type of things that are happening in our backyard. MOVA, they just won a $1.5 million contract around chicken waste. Okay, so if you sit back and think about chickens, what's one of the biggest things that cause them to die in the wintertime? Ammonia. So they've figured out a way to actually neutralize that and do interesting things. So interesting things coming out of that. And the whole agricultural play they're doing where they're taking the smart carbon and pumping it right back into the agriculture place. Those things happen here in our region. So these are the RAMP opportunities. We talked about a 12-week program, $20,000 grant, and how to apply. So once again, if you're interested in these type of things, we would love to hear from you. Here's our success metrics in terms of business growth, partnerships, market expansion. I'm very proud of these companies. We've got the cohort next week is going to be in Roanoke, which we're going to bring in a bunch of investors and they're going to pitch their ideas to them, and we'll look at their business plans, and it's kind of like a very business-friendly apprentice, if you will. This gives these kids a lot of an opportunity to get feedback and be exposed to some of the best venture capital folks around to help them fund it and take it to the next level. Finally, we're going to lead on the power of connections. It goes back to Kevin Bacon and the 7 degrees of separation. Take advantage of everything here. I mean, I love Chamber of Commerce. We are working with the State Chamber right now on an AI project between Region 2 and Region 3. And I'm so proud of the State Chamber. Before we could go to them, they came to us and said, look, we are concerned about AI. We want to look at it from an opportunistic standpoint and be able to come back and offer our members good guidance. And so we worked with them on a planning grant that's about ready to go, that you'll be able to take advantage of as chamber members. But that's like the beginning, if you will. You should be able to pop that, take advantage of it, and then mold it uniquely for your community. Once again, I think I've shared my love of how much I love community colleges. If I haven't, I love community colleges. Take advantage of the program. I find that most of the presidents are very open to new ideas. They will look at the population in general. They'll think about how it can serve the common good. They have certain programs that are for high school students, but I love the programs that we have for working adults so we can retrain the population. Take advantage of these programs. I mean, if it's only once a year, take a 3-credit program to help you up-level and change your skill set, because the technology is changing at the speed of thought right now. I think the community college has a grant for high school kids to start working on AI, and hopefully we can translate that to some workforce development for the broader audience. The economic development folks, like Ken used to be before he moved into the big seat, it's all about sales. It's like, how do we come back and make sure that we are putting the best foot forward to bring the best companies that create the best jobs to this region. So every one of you are a salesperson. So when the economic development folks come in and says, talk to these folks about your region, you're the best sales folks they have. The economic development folks will have the glossies. You're going to have the real stories in terms of what it means to do business as a region and why it's important. And then regional networks. We've got incredible networks, whether it's things like the Roanoke-Blacksburg Technology Council. We're urging folks to get involved in that. We've got our Tech Night coming up at Virginia Tech next Thursday night. We'll have about 300-400 people there. We're going to be in the indoor practice stadium. But it's an incredible networking event because you'll meet peers, birds of the feathers. You can talk about common business problems, and you can come back and think about ways that you can work together and solve problems together. You guys are an incredible location, and I know a lot of things I've been talking about sounds futuristic, but the future's now. The market is changing very, very rapidly around us. In my 66 years in this world, this is probably the fastest innovation paradigm shift that I've seen. Hopefully this will be the last one. Not that I hope I get hit going back down to 20 or something, but it's actually exhausting to keep up with it. But on the same token, this one also gives us the greatest opportunity to leapfrog the competition that's ever been out there. You've got the connectivity, you've got the sites, you've got the people, you've got the resources. It's your game now. Make it happen. Thank you. Can I answer any questions? I'm sorry I'm not Terry Austin. I'd much rather listen to Terry. He's more fun. But is there any questions I can answer? Yes, sir.
I'll just echo everything Mr. Amos said. As was mentioned earlier, I work for Delegate Austin as legislative assistant. So I take care of constituent issues and deal with the county issues. And he's absolutely right. The resources you have here with Go Virginia and BDP, getting the money that we did for the commerce site, the industrial site that Mr. Amos is referencing, it's a game changer. And if there's anything that you need from our office, we may not know everything, but we know who to connect you with. And as he said, that's the most important thing, is creating those synergies and moving forward with any idea or issue you may have. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Amos and the Chamber for allowing us to be here. And Delegate Austin wishes he could be here, but he's at his grandson's graduation for high school right now. So as I said, I'm Matt. If you have any questions after, I'm happy to talk with you. But I just wanted to thank Mr. Amos and everything he's doing with Go Virginia and the county. And you know, personally speaking, we're going to miss Ken as a citizen of Botetourt, but y'all have got someone who knows the ins and outs of economic development, not just here, but everyone in Richmond knows who he is as well. So use him as a resource, and wish you all the best of luck. So thank you.
You guys are really blessed in terms of resources. I mean, Ken's top notch. He's did such a great job at Bonneton, and I can't begin to express my gratitude to Terry Alston in terms of how he helps out not just in your region, but helps us out in other regions. Back when we had the elections and the redistricting, we would call Terry and say, Terry, can you help this new member get onboarded and talk about what's important? And Terry's never said no. He would always jump in. Proud community college graduate. And he's somebody that's really, really good. Back when they had the 611 train running from Goshen up to Stanton, we took that early morning with him, and Terry was out in the pasture putting signs up, vote for Terry. And I'm like, I love this guy. But you guys are blessed to have him representing you in this region. He does a lot for you and speaks for the community in general. Okay, thank you guys so much. Pleasure being here.